Call to order. This is a meeting of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. It's our regular monthly meeting. For the record, those present are myself, Commissioner Mchaco, Commissioner Sanchez, Commissioner Santos, and Commissioner Martinez. And let me see. Is there anybody from the public?
No, sir. No.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go straight to the agenda. We have one thing to do on the top part of the agenda. This is the personnel matter that we put on, remember? Because we have a candidate, and we offered the candidate the nominal amount that was on the advertisement. And our candidate has come back with with counter offer.
I'm sorry,
And the
Mr.
counter
Chairman,
offer
this
is,
what page are you on?
huh?
What page are you on?
Oh, just the very beginning page. The
I'm on
board
page 52.
On the agenda.
on the agenda is number one, page
It
one.
says GM, okay,
No,
personnel, we're doing that first. Oh,
Yeah.
there's no highlight or anything.
Yeah.
So you're now summarizing where we're at. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
so we are, item number 4. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I need to approve the
We skipped the minutes. I'm sorry.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Okay, no public I went straight to public comment, sorry, my apologies. So the personal matter is, we have selected a candidate. We made an offer to the candidate. Candidates made a counter offer for 138,353 is where they would be slotted in. And here, if I can pass that around, please.
This is the Alan Searle.
This is the Alan Searle that'll show you where they're at right now.
Where would the candidate fall, Mr.
Where
Chairman?
would the candidate fall, both in 2017 and 2022?
Just do 22. That's the most recent. Just do the 22 update, right?
Yeah,
Francis.
it's there.
Where
One
does
for
this,
Francis.
where does the candidate fall?
Okay, so, John
35th?
Ray, tell us where the candidate falls.
The counter offer based off the 2017 market.
2017 or 2022?
Do the 2022
Yeah,
first, John
17
Ray.
is outdated. I mean, why would we look at that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but don't we
just,
want to compare it to wages in 2022, not wages in
Just as
2017?
we don't have as another de facto approval of the 20.
No, no, not approval. So my question was, where does the counter
Okay, I'm just
offer?
saying, we don't want that to be used as a way to
Okay.
slide this back in the other way.
okay, so
Remember, we
can,
haven't discussed 2022 Alan Searle.
right, okay, so can we have
Okay.
where she slotted in 2017?
Start with that.
Let's start with
Okay.
that, and then
Okay.
where that
Do
would
both.
end up
Okay.
in 2022?
Perfect.
Okay, if we improved, right? Okay, so start with that.
Sure. John Ray Agigi for the record. So the 138,000 counter offer falls between the 35th and the 40th market percentile of the 2017 market data. In front of you, again, we have the 2017 raw data, which the market is paying, and also we provided the 2022, again, which has not been approved, but just to show you the trend of how the market has upticked. With that, we did again offer 124,000. The counter offer closest to 138,000 would bring her to 138,353. Again, that's between the 35th and the 40th market percentile. The rest of the GPA
2017?
In
on the 2017 is at the 25th market percentile. If you're looking at the 2022, just for context, the $138,000 offer would fall between the 20th and the 25th market percentile.
And the 2022 salary, which is the review is conducted annually by our HR expert, Alan Searle, even though we have not approved it at this time, right? That's subject to
Subject to
to
us
future
approving it.
meetings.
We're going to have a
We have the
special
we have
meeting
the
on
data.
that.
We have the
We have
data,
the data.
right? And the data shows that the candidate would fall actually into a lower percentile based on average salaries of 2022. Obviously, salaries since 2017 have gone up in 2022. So I'm comfortable with that range of counteroffer, Mr. Chair. I can make a motion at least to approve it, and then we can discuss it.
further.
Move to approve that salary adjustment for discussion purposes.
Is there a second? Second, okay. Okay, commissioners, what are your thoughts?
Well, the reason I proposed it was we've used Alan Searle for many, many years. In fact, GovGuam uses Alan Searle everywhere. the whole certified technical professional designations that were created by law were created at the request of the CCU, Senator Bob Klitsky, Senator Joanne Brown in 2008. Since then, it's been adopted by every other autonomous agency, except that they don't necessarily limit it only to certified technical professional positions. We still do that, but the attorney position is a certified technical position, all right? And so, and Alan Searle is coming to brief us on his latest survey, but we have the preliminary data. And if we were to agree with this counter offer, the new attorney would still be slated only in the 20 to 25th percentile, which is well within the range of where we have all of the GPA and GWA employees on average. So I think the counter offer fits into two things that we've always thought about. Have a bona fide wage survey of like-minded utilities and slowly raise the pay of all of our certified technical professional employees to the 25th percentile, which we started since 2008, and we have pretty much moved everybody along that line, a few higher, a few lower, but on average, clearly we're at the 25th percentile. This new hire would fall basically within that, below the 25th percentile, so would fit in to the process we've been doing since 2008 of gradually moving up salaries over time. On the GPA side, we've done it without raising the base rate. And let's face it, when you have a $110, $120 million company like GWA, you know, $100,000, $120,000 is de minimis when it comes to the pay that you're going to be paying. We need legal counsel. We've interviewed some excellent candidates. We believe we have an excellent candidate that we've made an offer to. So I was comfortable in making the motion to pay them the counter offer, and that was the basis for my motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Chapman.
the current rate of pay for the candidate, is this consistent with her current rate of pay?
It's a little below her current rate of.
Little below her current
So
rate.
she's taking a pay cut.
Taking a pay cut
A
to
little bit.
The candidate is taking a pay cut, sorry.
And, you know, I'd just like to interject that basically this whole concept of certified technical professional, which we've moved to, which we started and everybody else probably did, is designed to attract and retain talent, which we've always have a problem with. You know, we lose people, especially the technical, like Miguel, you lost somebody recently, right, to DZS, or what were they? Wastewater?
Wastewater treatment plant operator.
A wastewater treatment plant operator 3, or
I
what was
believe it was
it?
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean,
We compete.
we compete, they compete.
for
And,
labor.
you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but did we discuss how close we are to, I remember we were talking about how close we are to the federal pay scale, how we're getting closer to them, but they're still ahead of us. We're not equal with them, right? Okay, but then the other thing is, they also offer benefits that we can't offer. You know, they have a COLA. I don't know if they're going to be out of a job in a few weeks, but usually they get a COLA, and they also have benefits to, I think, shop at the exchange and buy gas. The gas part is the one I would think was the biggest incentive for people. So, you know, this is meant to try and attract our talent and okay, so if there's no further discussion, go ahead.
One other point, Mr. My motion was to offer this pay, but I think the traditional motion is, if we agree with this number, we would then either do a separate motion to authorize the chairman to present our counter
To
offer,
accept the counter.
Yeah.
and to see if the candidate would accept.
I've talked to the candidate, and she's willing to accept, you know, she wants the counter offer, and I told her that we were going to announce tonight if we are in agreement. If we're
Yes.
not in agreement, then we would wait.
Right, but because, well, even if we may agree with the number at our level, in fairness to the candidate, you need to take that number back to the candidate and see if they would accept, or did the candidate say they would accept automatically if we offer this number?
If that was her
Well,
counter
we're
offer.
accepting
Her counter offer.
This is
Yeah.
her offer.
The counter offer.
Her
of the
counter
can-
offer, so, you know, I
So if
mean,
we accept it,
then we're done.
she's a
Okay, so was my motion to accept the counter offer?
Yes,
Okay,
to approve.
all right, then I guess by extension, we would authorize you
I would
go back and
finish,
say that-
go back and finish all the
Okay.
pre-employment.
Right. Well, and once it's accepted, we would announce the name of the
Yes,
candidate,
we would
right?
announce the
Right now,
name
we
tonight.
can't, right now, we cannot because we don't know if the offer will be accepted.
No, we,
Are we gonna announce the candidate?
I sent the candidate,
And then,
Vote on the number, but then,
announce it.
and we can announce it.
Well, let's vote first.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
after that.
This
one-
is her
one-
number, this is the number she presented to you, that she wanted, the 138.
She wanted 138, so what we do is, because
Yes.
we don't have 138
Yeah,
right
I
on the nose. Yeah,
Salary, what are the benefits that she's gonna get? She asked for anything outside of the normal?
no,
standard Gpwa.
just the same thing that we offered our people,
Yeah.
so it's the same, right?
Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify. Did the candidate understand that you would announce her name
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering,
this evening?
yeah.
I told her that
accepting
in
this
an email.
position?
Okay,
I,
hold
I,
on.
I think you should still take it back and make sure the candidate is okay to have it
Yeah.
announced.
Okay, hold
In
on.
case the candidate has changed their mind for whatever reason that we're not
I
aware of.
understand what you've said. You said that you,
They're not going.
Okay.
But
hold on a
somebody
second.
else is, but somebody else is.
How many people are watching you?
We don't want it on Facebook and YouTube.
Two including one of GPA.
But still, the jungle drums are good, so
okay.
we don't want the candidate
Let's make a motion.
hearing about it, not from the chairman.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
because
Call for the vote, Mr. Chairman.
whether the candidate is conditionally accepted, if the board voted to approve her counteroffer, is separate and apart
From whether they accept it.
whether or not she's also agreed to be announced publicly as, yeah.
Okay, so.
Still.
So why don't we do this? Let's vote on the motion to accept the counteroffer. Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize you to speak with the
Communicate
candidate,
with the
communicate
candidate.
with candidate, and said that we've accepted the counteroffer.
And-
And subject to acceptance, then we can,
Then
actually, you can,
I can
and then authorize
announce-
the chairman to announce it publicly.
Yes, I'll announce it.
Is that okay? Second,
Okay.
Okay, vote on that, vote on that.
Is that
That's a motion,
Okay, motion to authorize the chairman to.
that the,
uh,
to inform the
talk to-
candidate that the
inform the
counteroffer's been accepted,
And then, after talking to the candidate, make the announcement.
if, once the candidate confirms that they will take the position at the new
Okay,
salary.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We're done with that part.
And
Okay,
that,
let's-
and this allows you to announce it without calling a board meeting,
Sure. Got it.
unless they say no.
Nope, got it. Okay.
Can't get that out of the way.
Next, we'll go to GWA. You're up first, Miguel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Please, the board, we can go straight into the resolutions.
Yes, let's go straight into the resolutions.
First item on the agenda is Resolution 45-FY 2023. This is seeking authorization for increased funding for wastewater chemicals supply contracts. As I mentioned in the work session, GWA has two different contracts for wastewater chemicals. They were initially issued as 3-year contracts with two one-year options. We are in the first option year, which ends in December 2023. We are approaching the limits of funding authorization for these chemicals, but we obviously still need these chemicals to properly operate the wastewater treatment plants at Northern District, Hagatna, and Agate Santa Rita for secondary treatment and also for enhanced primary treatment. The project is necessary and urgent because we need to continue to meet our permit requirements. We are seeking, in order to finish out this option year and authorize an additional option year, we're seeking an additional amount for each contract of $700,000 for the anionic polymer and cationic polymer and that would be the contract with JMI Edison. And for total chemical, which is a separate contract, we're seeking additional authorization of $1 million. These would be not to exceed amounts to allow us to continue those chemical supply contracts. The second option year would be completed in December of 2024, and that's what this funding is intended to take us to.
Okay. Motion?
Motion to approve resolution 45.
Second.
Okay, second. Any further discussion?
Nope,
No?
these are
All
necessary.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, I'll ask the
Next.
AGM to do the next.
Okay, thank you, Miguel. Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 46 FY 2023 is relative to the adoption of the auditor series of positions to the GWA Certified Technical Professional list. This is going to add the job classification standards of auditor positions 1, 2, and 3 into our CTP of employees. Currently, right now, we have an internal auditor that's part of the general manager's office, and she is responsible for evaluating our organizational risk, controls, compliance, and efficient proper use of resources. Over the last 5 years, the amount of work that's been required of this individual has exceeded the capacity of what she's able to do. So we are adding these already existing positions in the government of Guam classification listing into the GWA listing. The request is necessary and urgent so that we can improve our business processes and expand implementation and proper execution of our SOPs and address any complaints, allegations, fraud, waste, and abuse. As far as the cost, it is listed below it at the 20th market percentile of the 2017 market data. The plan for this is to recruit a position, and it will not be considered a new position. There is one vacancy that will not be. Position will take the place of that.
Okay.
Motion to
motion
approve resolution 46 FY 2023.
Second. Any further discussion? Nope. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Next one, Miguel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This one we added as an amended item on the last notice. This is Resolution 47 FY 2023, and it is seeking approval to increase funding for an existing IDIQ contract, indefinite quantity contract for submersible pumps and motors for our deep wells. So the board previously approved a funding amount for this contract, and then when we took it to the PUC, they applied their standard contingency, which is higher than the CCU's contingency. And because of the need to replace deep well pumps and motors, especially with recently with Typhoon Mawar, we are already butting up against the limits of this. The funding authorization for this contract, but there is additional PUC authorization, additional amounts that are authorized under the PUC's approval. So we're seeking the board's approval to increase CCU authorized funding to that amount for us to continue to make use of this contract for procurement of additional pumps and motors. We do have another contract that we're putting out. The RFP is being finalized right now, or the IFP is being finalized right now, advertised. So this is just going to take us to the end of this funding. If the board approves, we'll use this to process orders up to the end of that funding authorization, and the new procurement will move forward for another contract. So the existing balance on the account or the contract that we currently have is about $61,000, and we are seeking additional funding authorization of $548,000, which will bring us level with the existing PUC authorization under this contract.
Okay, motion?
Motion to approve a resolution.
Okay, second, Commissioner Santos. Further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous. Next.
Next resolution, 48-FY 2023, amends the title of the Trouble Dispatch Supervisor to Water Communications Dispatcher Supervisor, and it updates the position classification specifications. The current position, Trouble Dispatch Supervisor's primary responsibility is to supervise and the dispatch crews for emergency and related repairs to the water and wastewater systems. Since that original Trouble Dispatcher Supervisor position was created, we've established a Water Systems Control Center, of which the personnel that staffs that all are required to have operator certification levels 1 through 4. And their main purpose is to supervise and communicate emergency repairs and system adjustments. So that duty has kind of shifted over to the WSCC personnel. So by changing this title and the responsibilities, the Trouble Dispatch function will now just focus on the intake, customer service, calls and complaints. And the reason that we're needing to do this is currently the Trouble Dispatch Supervisor position requires a level 2 certification. We've been unsuccessful in recruiting for that the last several years. And so puts that position in the correct classification without.
And the salary is only between 59 to 61,000?
That's correct.
It just removes the operator requirement, right? Motion to approve a resolution 48-FY 2023.
The second? Second, Commissioner Santos. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
The next item on the agenda is Resolution 49-FY 2023. As the CFO presented in the work session, this is authorizing the issuance and sale of Gpwa water and wastewater system revenue refunding bonds on a current or forward delivery basis, and approving the forms and documents related thereto, including the agreements that will be used, and also authorizing the execution and delivery of these refunding bonds. As we presented in the work session, we have an opportunity to issue these forward delivery and refunding bonds, along with a potential refunding tender, which would save the authority millions of dollars in financing costs. So the market conditions appear to be right for this, and our initial information from the underwriters indicates that it's a good opportunity for the authority to save amounts that are above the trigger points, allowing this refunding to take place. So we are seeking the board's authorization to do that, and to take this also to the C in October. The timing of this will be making these presentations in October, and be hitting the market in November, with the goal of getting this done before the holidays. And underwriters and HEDA agree that this is a good opportunity, so we're requesting your authorization to move forward. Cost savings will be dependent on the actual market conditions at the time of issuance, but it will result in at least a 2% net present value savings. As I mentioned, we will be issuing Series 2023 system revenue bonds in November, and then closing of the advance refunding of 2024 system revenue bonds in April of 2024.
Move to approve Resolution 49 FY 2023.
Second, Commissioner Santos. Yes,
Quick
Commissioner Santos.
questions, I apologize because it was off island for the work session. So we're taking all the existing bonds and giving authority to refinance them. You know, they got to meet the 2% NPV and all those things. Do we have a guesstimate on potential savings for ratepayers from these refis? And if I understand you right, this would occur, different bonds would be refinanced over the next 4 to 6 months. Did I hear you right? Something like that? Maybe walk me through the thinking.
We'll have refunding bonds for 2023 for this year, and then advance refunding bonds for next year, depending on what is eligible to be refunded.
refunding all the 13s, 14s, all the existing bonds
Not all, just the ones that are eligible.
that meet the 2%, the minimum 2%, all right? Okay, and then did you have a
So
forecast of savings?
The savings we're looking at just for the refunding part are on the order of 4 to 5 million based on the last estimate that we got from the
Annually?
city.
Annually?
Total,
The net present, the net present values? Okay.
yeah.
So what I'm looking for is the rate impact, if any. Is there any rate savings or cost savings that, for which rates currently are paid?
So we would propose and structure the savings so that we spread them out over the entire life. So it's going to be levelized, so
Levelized, not front-loaded?
not
Okay.
front-loaded.
Okay, but even if they're levelized, do you have a guesstimate on,
The net present value of the savings just for the refunding part would be 4 to 5 million. Now,
for all those bonds? Wow.
the tender, if the tender is successful, there's the potential that could be additional millions in savings, but we don't, it's
Yeah, it's
dependent
premature
on
at this, it's kind of,
how
it's,
many participate, and that would be kind of a negotiated tender, negotiated refunding.
when you get the NPV at 4 to 5 million, I mean, working backwards from that, do you have a feel for the annual debt service savings that would be created by these refis? And I know it's best guess, because you're doing the refis over the next 6 to 8 months, right? And depending on the market and all that, but
So-
you're able to forecast NPV, so I'm just curious, are you able to forecast
The
what
present, the
savings are?
the analysis that we got from the underwriters was for front-loaded savings, and that was, I think, 4 million in first couple of years, or the first year, and then
Higher, less savings
that's savings after
thereafter?
that. But
You're preferring levelized?
we prefer, on the advice of our financial consultant, to spread it out.
Who's our financial consultant versus who's our lender?
Gilardi Rothstein Group is the financial consultant.
Okay, so they're saying don't front load the savings, take them equal over time.
Correct.
And then what was the estimated savings from the
We
Gilardi
didn't, we
group?
didn't get a run on that. The only run that they did that I recall is the front-loaded one.
Oh,
But it doesn't change the net present value, it just changes where the savings occur.
Why don't you
What years.
send an email to the commissioners?
I mean,
Give us-
I'm okay with approving it. I'm okay with approving it. I'm just curious, I mean,
Yeah,
the sister to NPV is some cash flow projection. And I appreciate it's projected. We're refinancing a number of different debt, and we're not doing it all at once, right? We're gonna do it over 6 months. But the NPV usually has a sister to it that says, here's the projected savings. In fact, you've chosen not to front load the savings, right? Which I appreciate. Yeah, it's, in the long run, that's cheaper for ratepayers. But there's still, I assume there's still some savings, otherwise.
There is, I just don't have the number for you. is
Right,
what I'm
so when
saying.
you get that, just
Yes.
if you can circulate that to
Yeah.
the commission, but I'm okay with the concept. I'm fine with it.
Okay. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous. Okay. Miguel, that's all you have? Miguel? What?
Just to advise the rest of the commissioners, I didn't hear with regard to the PC's action
Okay.
last night.
I was gonna say, tell us what we went through last night. I had to stay too. I stayed. Go ahead.
So, the ALJ and their consultants recommended 16.1%. Our request was 27%. The main items of dispute were the rates, restoring a portion of the rate stabilization fund that has been completely depleted in order for us to keep our coverage. And our 27% included $7.5 million to be put into the rate stabilization. The other two issues, or other couple issues, were the estimates that we used for power costs over the next year versus what they did. And theirs was about $300,000 lower, or?
Theirs was lower.
Oh, it's closer to 600,000, I think, lower than ours. To $1 million, sorry, 900. It was over 900,000 difference in our estimates for power versus theirs. and then 600,000 in labor costs. They gave us almost everything we're asking for in terms of labor. And then the ALJ also characterized our true-up request as being extraordinary, and the rate stabilization fund issue being a rate case within a rate case, and therefore argued that the PUC shouldn't consider it. We pushed back on that strongly, suggesting that it wasn't out of the ordinary, and the reason why we needed this is not, we weren't asking to be reimbursed for expenses that we were already funded, right, which they termed as redundant rate making. But we were simply asking that because of the volatility of the situation ahead and because the reserves had been depleted, if we proceed without those reserves and there are any hiccups in either our
Negative things.
revenues, that, you know, if we're off in revenues or we're off in expenses by just a couple of percent in either direction, lower revenues or higher expenses, then we run the risk of being in technical default because we don't have any reserves to add as additional revenue to make that coverage. And we used all of that up because the PUC and the rate consultants that they use did not provide us with the relief that we had previously requested. And so we made those arguments, but ultimately the commissioners, although they agreed that our coverage was lower than we wanted it to be at 1.3, they wanted it higher. Although they agreed with that, and although they agreed and understood why we needed to restore the rate stabilization fund, they didn't feel that it was the right time to do it at last night's hearing, and so they initially made a motion to approve just the 16.1% that was recommended by the consultants. But one of the commissioners introduced an amendment to use our numbers for the labor, which added an additional 0.6%. So it went to 16.7%, and that was the final number.
And they also, the PUC also said, if the next 5-year rate plan will take up the rate stabilization and also the number for debt service coverage, because they realized it was so tight, right?
The debt service coverage definitely was to be part of the next 5-year rate plan. The rate stabilization fund, I wasn't sure if they said we could start before the next, I thought I got the chairman said if you need us to start before the next 5-year rate plan, we'd be willing to come in and do it, so.
Yeah, no, but they also said they would, like they did with Gpa, because they realized Gpa, for example, has a self-insurance fund. They have other reserve funds that they've tapped in the past. We need it. And they've agreed. But so what they've said is they would look at the rate stabilization fund and they would fund it over a period of time, as they did with the $20 million, start with 5 million first, and when you reach 5 million, go to 10 million, go to this, go to that. So that's what we will take up in the next 5-year rate plan.
As long as we didn't need it before then.
Yes.
Because,
No, if we need it before then, they said, come back and ask us for a quick adjustment.
Georgetown had recommended that, we could handle this with commercial paper program or short-term borrowing. Of course, we can't because we don't have authorization to do that, number one. Number two, even if we did it, we would be borrowing to cover operational costs, and that doesn't count towards achieving the debt service coverage. We can't count it as revenue. It can't be.
That's our consultants that we pay for?
Right.
Well, that's Georgetown's, yeah, we pay for them
That's our
too.
consultants.
Yeah.
Make it clear to the people.
But,
We're paying our consultants to tell us
Yeah.
to borrow.
no, we're
so
paying
we
the
borrow.
PUC's consultants, but the good news, if I'm hearing Miguel correctly, is the PUC understood that, they didn't give us rates we asked for before, and when you kick the can down the road, the can gets bigger, right? And so, we asked for higher rate adjustments earlier. We had to dip into our reserves, and the chairman and I have had this conversation. That debt service coverage of 175 was set in our PUC days. That's actually a pretty generous coverage, which allowed us to have reserves, but now we've used those reserves, right? Because they were stingy, and at least we got 16.5%, and we get to file a new adjustment. And if we need help between now and then, because, the only other thing I would add last night is, have you seen what oil's been doing? Oil's not going in the right direction, right? So it's conceivable that the power bill for the entire community, including GWA, may go up, because we've dealt with the COVID, when we didn't pass it along, we got our money back. Now we're back to normal days of LEAC is LEAC. Oil is oil, you deal with it. Oil's on its way up, that could put pressure on GPA, which puts pressure on you where you're so marginal on any slight adjustment in your costs or on your revenues, creates too narrow a cushion on coverage. But at least, if I'm hearing you right, they said, here's 16.7. Okay, here's that, okay, not as much as you asked for, but way more than we've given you. And you get to file a new 5-year rate plan, which has always been the logic of rate plans with annual true-ups. You get to do a new one, and in this spring, and they even then said, but if you need it between now and then, we can always petition, right? Our hope is that we can, I don't think any of us like to do mid-year rate adjustments unless there's things truly beyond our control. Like if oil got really stupid, then that's a basis. But at least I'm encouraged by your description that they ended up disagreeing with Georgetown, giving you a higher number, even giving you for labor, because I would have argued, hey, you better give us for power, because look where oil's going. But they gave you enough, and they gave you permission to petition in case things get worse. And you're going to turn in a new 5-year rate plan with annual true-ups in the spring. So, that's the nature and the logic of rate making. That's why we go back on a regular basis, because we're predicting the future. And when the future doesn't meet our predictions, we true it up to whatever reality actually is.
They acknowledge the fact that we had already authorized Miguel to.
Well, yeah, because, as if they had a choice in Miguel not signing it, right?
What I meant is.
Yeah, and they have to. Yeah.
they
But
have to.
that's sort of separate from, Miguel is coming up with the consent decree 2 implementation plan, which the good news, because we still have to run to the legislature to get the borrowing authorization.
Yeah.
But the first one was 650, consent decree 2 is 250, and we keep chipping away at fixing the system that was 30 years behind fixing, and the numbers are getting smaller. To me, we're going in the right direction, and future needs may be even smaller, right? Or we just get back to a more normal need where we're not, as Miguel said, we're not borrowing for operations. That's the last thing we want to do.
Commissioner Santos.
Just question Miguel and tell him what if the budget, what are we gonna do? What's the plan?
We're already reviewing the numbers and all.
Mike,
No, that's fine, okay.
Okay, so, and that'll be at the next meeting? You got enough to go, you got enough for now?
Through the first quarter,
Perfect.
We started.
so I think we're good.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right. Tough but good.
Anything else, Miguel?
just quick announcement, we just, this afternoon at 2 got notice that, notice of awards on the EPA grants for the coming year. So a little less than last year, 3 million less in the regular funding and 3 million approximately less in the, bill grants. But they came in, and then they were, our notice of awards came in this afternoon at 2.
So what's the total when you add them up, even though it's a little less?
So for the regular one last year was 7.8 million. This year it's 4.8 million.
Okay.
For the bill, last year was 26.3 million. This year it's 23.9.
It's still 27 million bucks. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, and we're still on target to meet the court order deadlines as we got something from EPA, right, in terms of an extension?
From the district court.
From the district court. This is on the
On
2011
consent
court
one.
order.
On
CD1.
On the 2011 court order, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
okay. And what do you think what are you allowed to spend the 27 million on that you just got?
They're already on the priority, EPA priority list. It's those projects.
Are they related to either consent decree?
court order?
They are, some of them are, yeah.
Okay.
To the court order?
That's good. They're
Yeah.
giving us money to meet their decree. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what we want. Okay, that's
And
good.
it's not subject to the government shutdown?
Well, I think that's why we got it today.
Democrats?
Damn, they're good. That's why my dad was a Democrat.
let's not get excited. Okay, thank you very much.
27
Miguel.
million, it's good.
7-0.
John,
And we're in compliance.
you're up. Where's your crew, John? Oh, okay, that's
Move
it.
to approve all of them, sir.
Wait, can we take a 5-second?
Okay.
2-minute recess?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
There's two there.
We're back in open session, and John, the floor is yours.
Commissioners, first item tonight is FY 2023, that's 32, and that's relative to adopting the budget for One Power Authority for both fiscal years 2024 and 2025. The budget in itself came in for 2024 at 5,607,000. 555,607,000, and for fiscal year 2025, 576,098,000. And again, as far as the base rate, that portion, our expenditures are basically in line with prior years, meaning that our existing base rate revenues we're projecting as in fiscal year 2024 as 157.8 million, and in 2025 162.5. The cost here is really a contingency, or not a contingency, but an estimate of the budget for fuel oil. Fuel oil has kind of been on the rise, as could be seen from all the reports. Right now, I think we're basically running even in terms of our rates versus our expenses. So our under recovery has actually not been going down like we have projected, but have been kind of holding on where it has. So hopefully things have changed, and we will provide in November a recommendation for the following fiscal year. But at this time, we're not looking at asking the Commission for any changes on that fuel. But
And
again,
what's the current under recovery?
19 million.
And going down.
190.
And going down,
And staying level.
holding steady, and you can handle that?
The past 2 months has been right even. So this 19 already now has been for third, and of course
So we got it lower before, but now with oil prices increasing, it's crept back up a little.
Yes.
But we'll deal with any LEAC adjustment in November, December, effective February, once you take a look at the
And in
numbers.
June, we had a big 5 million hit on that because, of course, the base loads were all down because of the
And you're buying
typhoon.
more expensive fuel.
More expensive fuel, so that's why that 5 million got hit. So right now, let's just look at the last 2 months, and it's like 1 million under recovery in July, and 307,000 in August. So it's been
300
right
to a
around.
million under recovery in the last 2 months?
Yeah.
500,000.
So it hasn't, not like before where you
It was big.
jumping 3, 4, 5 million. So
And the LEAC is at 23 cents right now.
yeah,
Right.
Yes.
But the only headache is oil is on the rise. So.
that's right.
So when is our next buy?
Well, we're okay for now, it's just he has to propose a new rate in
No, but I'm
November.
talking about our next fuel shipment. And what rate is that gonna be at?
I think next
Yeah.
shipment is no, but the next month. I think
Next month?
we could order almost once every 2 months or so. So
And the
Okay.
projected barrel cost is?
Higher.
We know that, but what do we?
Yes.
It's about 130 right now.
Yeah, so that when they propose the new LEAC adjustment in November, that will be for us to consider, send it to PUC, but some of that, it is what it is. I think to me, the best part is we got over when we didn't raise it during COVID and we advanced 40 million bucks, we got most of that back. We've proven the ability to handle some under recovery, but we don't like it at 40 million, right? Right now, it's guessing at 20 million, which will force a LEAC consideration in November. You'll answer Commissioner Santos'
for
number about
February
what the real numbers
recommendation.
are over the next few months, but we know the trend is not where we would like it to be, but those are beyond our control, and
and as usual, all the CIPs though they have put in quite a bit of money this year for the next 2 years for CIP.
and no base rate adjustment is required with this budget at this time, right?
No.
If there's any change, it's gonna be on the LEAC only.
That's correct.
Okay, that's good. That would be like the 11th, when was the last time the base rate was adjusted? 2013?
10 years.
So
2013.
we haven't touched that base rate in 10 years, yet we've been able to
But we-
solve our problems, non-fuel,
And build
and
capital projects.
build capital, move our people's pay up to the 25th percentile, all without a rate increase. Oil continues to be the biggest challenge for anybody in the power business. I was just in Florida and saw their PUC raise the LEAC for Florida Power and Light. So, that's, even they can't control the price of oil. So,
Okay.
great.
Commissioner
So
Santos.
motion to approve GPA resolution 2023-32.
Second?
Second, any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item I have on the agenda is FY 2023-33, and that's again asking your approval to recognizing October 1st to 7th as Public Power Week. And again, this is also our 55th year operating under as a public electric utility. And unless there's any questions in that, so it's
Motion to approve FY 2023-33?
Second.
third item is
Wait, any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
FY
Unanimous.
2023, that's 34, and that's for the relative to change of signatories that may authorize banking transactions on behalf of GPA and in compliance with our policies. And that's due, of course, because we now have a new Assistant General Manager of Operation and restoring the 5 signatures back to.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any further discussion? None?
straightforward.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Next resolution, FY 2023, that's 35, and that's relative to net metering, Mr. Chair, where we will request the PUC, the PUC to really look closely at the net metering at this point, because again, there are a lot of significant things that are happening, trying to make changes to the existing net metering, which is full credit. And as I had shown that if these actions take place, then now the 5 million, what you call subsidy now
From non-NEM.
can grow to as much as 12 million and over. And when that happens, that's already 10% of our budget, and definitely that will impact rates for us. So even the PUC is concerned, and the FASC has to also, and we'll be considering this. And I ask that you're for approval on that, but also I do want to answer Commissioner Nantiaco's question the last time as to the breakdown of the base rate and how it integrates with the net metering, no? And this is what it is here. The base rate, if you look, right now we broke it down to 2022 and 2023 as best we have today. And here, as you can see, is 31 cents for everything in FY 2022. And all of that, 20.5 cents is the LEAC. So basically, the base rate is about 11 cents. As to the breakdown, out of that 11 cents, 4.2 cents is debt. Obviously, no one avoids debt, no? So that's something that today net metering is not paying for. It's only the 50,000 other customers that pay the debt, not the total 53,000 customers. So, and then you start looking at the other parts of it. You have other production costs, 1.3. They're operating whether you're generating solar or not. So these are mostly fixed costs within the system. Transmission and distribution is about 1 cent. IPP, customer accounting, about 0.5 cent. Administrative and general, and again, these are all the costs, retirees, board fees, property insurance, other utilities that are again, they're not avoided and stuff. So again, there's 11 cents now that, again, this is what will happen if, as more customers become given full NEM credit, this impact our revenues substantially, no? If you look at 2023, it's very similar, although the LEAC has jumped now to 28.1. Basically, the base rate portion of this is still around 10 cents, no? Per kilowatt hour. So I think, Commissioner, this is the breakdown. Next page. Do I have
John,
that? Here.
John, can you back up, because I'm a little
Wait,
confused.
if I just, I'm sorry.
Just go back, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So if you look on the right side, the LEAC is 28, and then the total is 38. That's 10
Yep.
cents difference.
Yep.
But on FY '22, we have 20, oh, I'm sorry, that's 20.5, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, bad eyes, okay, I'm good. Basically, the non-fuel piece is still 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, I'm good, I'm sorry. Bad
And the
eyes.
next page, again, if you wonder what are we really avoiding? Avoiding costs is in this. The LEAC, of course, oil to jobs. If they produce, we don't burn. So vice versa. So that, again, that's a savings to them. The other ones that if you look at again is energy. By not having to transmit from the power plant to the location, you're saving line losses. No. So again, that's about this is right here, half a cent per kilowatt hour. So the avoided cost is 21, and here's the 31. So basically, there's where your 10 cents of difference is. It's not being, it's only being the burden of paying all of that is only on the non-net metering customers. No?
So John, let me quick question. I'm surprised with the resolution that you're asking permission to, I guess, study this. Why don't you just file a rate case? I mean, to me, you have all the numbers.
There is one already
There's
filed.
already a rate case.
So what,
And I've been waiting for different studies to show
okay.
that really there are no other benefits coming from the net metering other than what we're showing.
So what does this
It's
resolution?
kind of trying to bring it up quicker to address it, including we are going to provide some of the studies because there's no way to provide all the studies that could be done. It takes time to do all that, but we'll be showing that, yeah, in the circuits now, if you're over 30%, what you call it,
Penetration.
supply penetration, then you're starting to have issues and things that we're already starting to address, no? But you can't keep putting all of this in. That's why we decided not to start going to energy storage systems.
So this resolution authorizes you to take these numbers to the PUC and update
It
did we already
brings
file a
forward
rate case for this?
the further urgency for them to address it quicker.
Oh, okay,
John,
because where is it now? They just wanted you to do more studies, and now this is the results of your additional work?
Way back, they want us doing more studies, which we have been working on to do, but various also other reasons have come up, including COVID.
So what does this resolution do for you, since you've already filed a rate case? Why don't you just
The
amend it?
LOJ have asked us to work with him and bring something forward to, again, highlight the urgency of this whole thing, no?
I mean, I'll support, it just seems to me, we've already authorized you to always file a rate case you think is necessary. You have the basis for it. I mean, in supporting this, what does it do for you that you can't already do?
I think it just puts a more urgency on it.
Or at least
So,
that we're okay
yeah.
with your idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. And I think,
Additionally, Commissioner, in a recent legislative public hearing, one of the senators had asked GPA to intervene and to ask the PUC to look at net metering. And so there is a proposed bill that would amend the current commercial KW rate to increase it to, I believe, 400 KW.
Right.
And so when in discussing that with ALJ Haraki, I asked him if he would prefer a letter to reopen the net metering request, the docket, and he said he would prefer a new resolution from the CCU and a resulting docket.
Okay, and this new resolution will incorporate these new numbers? Because, I mean, the other way we do it is we file a rate, and where are you with the rate, and here's more information. But if this helps you, if this works with ALJ, then we'll do everything we can to support your effort. But this is long overdue. We've always known that we wanted to let the renewable energy industry get going, and it's gotten going, and we're up to 30 megs and 3,000 customers. And we've proven that we're still overpaying more than the cost that we're avoiding, which is unfair to other ratepayers that are not.
there are areas now, like, of course, Hawaii have stopped net metering for several years now.
We're dinosaurs.
And in addition to that, really, there's a lot said that GPA is anti-solar, but that is not the.
We're the largest producer of solar energy on
We
the
are
island.
always trying to protect the integrity of the sharing of costs, and that's all we're doing. And if they, yes, make a change to avoided costs or avoided cost plus, that's very similar to what we've asked. Therefore, we can allow more and more without the size is not as significant, as long as we can integrate it within the system. It only means, though, that energy storage system will have to come into play.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you're singing to the choir, so I'm okay with that. Now, when you file this new information and reactivate your rate case, basically, how long, or what's your desire with them to act upon a change?
Yesterday, of course.
And, okay, since yesterday has already passed, what's your next guess?
Well, as soon as possible, because again, at
sooner
least
the better, yeah.
at least you address for the whole community, including the solar group, that look, okay, this is where we're heading now. Now, build your business cases based
Around that for
on this
compensation,
thing,
yeah.
because we can, and you can remember us way back as saying, if this grew in this exponential rate, rate increases are going to be
The
impacted.
current NEM reimbursement is not fair to the 45,000 other ratepayers that don't have solar systems on their roofs. And that subsidy needs to end, and it's always needed to end by going to an avoided cost model. You're telling us tonight with this resolution, it gives you the further impetus to revisit with the PUC that it's time, once and for all, for us to move out of the dinosaur age. People have this is NEM 1, and NEM 1 has been abandoned by all utility companies and PUCs, particularly in the United States, and it's time for us to migrate there so that we're more fair. We balance the playing field for people that have solar on their roof, and for the majority of our ratepayers who do not have solar on their roof. The only solar they're getting is from the Guam Power Authority, which is the largest provider of solar energy in Guam. And what are we paying for those rates? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cents versus paying 31 cents for the power off of people's roofs. That is not fair to existing ratepayers. And so I'm okay with supporting the resolution. I just asked the question because it seemed to me just file the rate case, but you reminded me that the PUC wanted you to look at it in a certain way. You're now prepared to go back to the PUC with this resolution that we support your efforts to change the NEM reimbursement to avoided costs. You're showing us the numbers, and if we adopt this resolution tonight, you can go in with the confidence that the CCU has agreed with your recommendation to move to avoided costs for NEM reimbursement and modernize the way we reimburse for solar coming off of individual rooftops and end or significantly reduce the cross subsidy that is being paid by all the other GPA customers that don't have solar on their roofs. This is the beginning of a change that the overwhelming majority of utilities in the United States in particular, and PUCs in the United States, they have moved from the current model of 100% one-for-one reimbursement, kilowatt for kilowatt net, to avoided costs, or some variation of avoided costs, because someone with a solar system on their roof, still tied to the grid, gets that grid for free, and that grid is being paid for by other ratepayers that don't have solar, and that's not fair to the great majority of other ratepayers that don't have solar. So we're going to balance it in the interest of all ratepayers with your by adopting this resolution. That's my takeaway from your presentation tonight, right? Okay. Ready for the question?
Yes. Do we have a motion?
Oh, did we? I thought we made a motion. No?
No?
I move to approve resolution 2325. Is that the right one? Yes. Relative to, regarding net metering.
Second.
Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous. This time, that reminded me, John sent a letter to me, and I'm going to forward it to you, requiring a meeting with the Sandia Group, right? And so...
With the which group?
The Sandia Group, which is Tracy, they're explaining...
Cybersecurity focused
Are they, oh, okay. And so they're inviting each commissioner to John, I think what I'd like to do is have you resend that letter to all the commissioners.
Is it soon? Do we know when?
October, the week of October 3rd, 4th, 5th, right? Tracy? Okay. Okay, so, yeah, it's a partner of Gpwa, and they want to pick our brains.
Tuesday,
see what
October
we're
3rd?
doing. October 3rd? Can
I'll,
you send,
I'll
make
take
sure
a
that
look.
gets sent out?
We will resend it and also summarize really what their intentions
Okay.
are.
Do we know
in
what
terms of
time?
that, Yeah.
Okay?
Do we know what time?
They're an NGO, non-government, or they,
National Lab.
they were here during
Oh,
the presentation?
NRL, I mean, from Denver?
There,
from
there's
Colorado?
several that are, we're actually involved quite expandedly with the different national labs, including Sandia and the NRL and others. No?
Guys that were here.
Yeah, they're working with us, of course, with renewables and all of this other thing, including
whole host of
cybersecurity.
things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So-
they're working with John Cruz and team. So
And what's the date, October 3rd?
Tracy, one more
Yes,
time.
I'll send out that letter again. I don't know if there's expanded dates for the CCU, but what I have on the calendar is October 3rd. And Sandia is going to be discussing and asking for your input regarding the benefits of integrating solar PV into our power grid.
And do we know what time that meeting is yet?
I'm not sure if you have a different time. I don't believe so, but I believe
think
it's
that's
9
just-
a.m. on the
That,
3rd.
that is the time that they're gonna start their meetings with all other people. So Tracy, when you do that, can you give us what slots are available for us?
I will absolutely
Okay.
do that. Okay.
Okay, I'm tied up at 11:30, but either before
she'll-
11:30
she'll
or
give you
or
slots.
the afternoon.
Okay.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
oh, okay, so we might not do it as a group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
I'll fit
two
in.
of us, three of us,
I'll fit
whoever.
in, I'll fit in.
Okay?
But we don't need a, but can you, okay, we're not making
meeting.
decisions, right?
No. This is just a meeting, just to discuss. So, Tracy, if you could give us like several options, that way, I don't know. Okay?
Got it.
Are they
Thank you.
gonna sell us cyber insurance?
They're a national laboratory.
It's a secret, man. I cannot talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. FY 2023-36, relative to authorize the Management Guam Power Authority to award the property and casualty insurance. We want to table this tonight until the next meeting. We are working with the bidder in various scenarios to see how that might bring your insurance rates. No, so again, we're not ready for that tonight. But then the next one is FY 2023-37, relative to 40 megawatts of temporary power procurement. I would like to just go through a very brief presentation and then explain what we're trying to do. Again, as I mentioned in the work session, nothing has changed really about the commissioning of the new power plant and all of that, except that the dates have changed. And so therefore, we've delayed it from 2024 to now early 2026, probably at the latest. However, again, that's putting a bigger stress into our system. The Jigu 20 megawatt combustion turbine won't be done until December. And again, that puts us in limited capacity, and we're in periods of load shedding on a regular basis, almost a regular basis. That's making that happen, no? So again, as I mentioned here, we have been doing, of course, first of all, the peak demand we're in the peak demand, highest peak period now, September, October, and that's why we're experiencing a lot more load shedding than we have, and of course, coupled with the fact that Capers 2, we're still working on that, and once we get that back on and hopefully stays on for a longer period of time, it will alleviate a lot of this, but it doesn't get us out. We're still very vulnerable on, as I have mentioned, for over a period of about 6 months, as we do other things to repair into the system, make that happen. Another thing that's been a constraint for us, of course, is the Jigu diesel protest, and we're trying to get out of that one. So we are doing a lot of work, and progress will continue over the next few months, and most especially towards the end of the year, that will start to really make an improvement. However, you know, we're the sole supplier of energy here, and we're looking at a vulnerability that's now been expanded for the next 2 years. So I believe it's in our best interest that we go out for temporary power for about 40 megawatts to add into the system. And that 40 megawatts really could be, as we had done in 2015, could probably be on the line within a 6-month period. The last time we did it within 130 days. And so, but of course, it all starts with your approval and then petitioning the PUC. We are already preparing all the bid specifications. It will ask for either diesels or combustion turbines. Again, we have to go and search the market, whatever is available in terms of temporary power. Until you ask for a 3-year base period and 2 optional 1-year period. You could ask for a lease to own on that. The other thing it would ask for though is I'm not looking for 140 megawatt machine. I'm either looking for a minimum of 220 megawatts or something, no? Because if we lose the whole 40, then we're really back. So again, things like that. Now, what would it cost? I think it's here also. Again, you've seen this. I've given you all the scenarios, and so here, as you can see, I made this estimate using the Agreco model that we had. So you're looking at about $12 million a year in cost. Citing this at either the Cabras power plant location where we were going to put the 41 megawatts from Gpwa, or Tenjo Vista. We have some property next to it. And the primary reason for that is because the fuel oil tanks are there, so that we're not trucking this.
And the
area.
sites already approved.
Right, so we're looking, you know, the permitting will be the concern that we're working on right now, but again, it all starts with this. If you look, and again, is it again, term for 3 to 5 year period really, so.
Is there a base rate impact?
We're gonna fund it from revenue sources, so we're not looking for
Existing base rate.
existing
Okay.
rate.
Okay, good.
So we're gonna find a way to, but again, I mean, we could cut costs and try to make it there, but then I don't, you know, I think our customers, we can be able to bring in and provide that service without the interruption that our customers are
Without
used to.
increasing their rate.
Right.
So-
And I'm sorry, how many months, John, you think, if we approve it tonight? What's your
Probably,
ETA
well,
for?
probably within the 6-month period, we can
Okay.
get this in. Again, that's including now going and getting the approval. We'll probably be issuing the
RFPs.
bid, the RFPs already as we get the approvals, because
Do you need
it gives
PUC
people
approval?
time to start working on this
Right.
scenario.
Do you need PUC approval to issue the bid? No, right? Or do you?
Typically, that's what we have done, but I don't, you know, the worst that could happen is, of course, that they'll say no, and then I stop the bid, right? But I think in a case like this, I would think the PUC will support it.
You'll
and
inform
there's
them.
no harm, no foul in anything. We're just trying to get
I
a
think
market.
John's right. By the time you actually get a proposed contract, that's when you go to the PUC.
Yeah, and then what happens is, once we have a
Well,
contract.
because it has a potential impact
Yeah.
on rates, he may have to tell them
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. No, and this
don't
is
think
what,
it- I
this is
don't
what we're gonna do, but again, in the interest of time and.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Approving it tonight, I think
Yeah.
you should at least tell the PUC, the CCU
no.
just
No, no,
approved.
we're gonna do as
So they-
soon as
They're gonna
we.
do
If they
that.
want to get on our, and talk to us now, because
Yeah.
he's moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do that as soon as I get the resolution, we're gonna
Okay,
file
that's
it right away. No?
That's good. 6 months.
So then, John, the 3 years, but Ukudu will be online within that time frame.
Correct.
So the purpose of the 2-year option, you're still not defined yet whether you're going to pursue that or not, but probably not necessary.
No, it's just to, it's always
In
good
case
to
of
have the
emergency.
optional years in case, You know, we've heard
There's
that,
further
I think I saw an article today that 3 to 5 storms maybe next year. And so it's always to just
Also,
be
our
prepared.
combustion turbines have aged. The 41 megawatts have aged. All we're really doing is beginning to invest in the repowering beyond Ukudu, because Ukudu's replacing Cabris 1 through 4, but we still got to worry about now Dededo, Jigo, all that capacity has aged as well. So,
And we're running them to death.
and we're running them to death, and even our private partner, we're not giving them the time. So I think John's got the configuration correct. The 6 months to get this generation in place. I think every ratepayer would welcome that news of capacity being available. And to me, it's also the beginning of the repowering or the replacement of the aging combustion turbines and all the others that have been running 20, 30 years and now being run more heavily than before. I've never thought, I mean, I think Ukudu and renewables will take us a long way, but I still think on an isolated grid, like you never go out on a boat with just one main engine. Right?
This is not replacing, this is just,
Yeah, this is just.
Well, but we have an option to keep
it's still
them.
temporary.
Well, but more importantly, that's why I think it's only the beginning of a discussion over the next few years about, okay, what are you going to do with Jigo and Dededo now that they're 3, 4, 5 years older? I mean, it's begging sort of that. And what we learned with the 41 megas is we ended up liking it and keeping them. Right? So I'm not surprised that movie repeats itself.
Go ahead, Commissioner Santos.
Question, I mean, John, you had originally planned a 40 megawatt generator.
Right down there.
That,
Yeah.
through the legislature, we failed to meet, you know, so we're basically making up lost time. Had we done that, we would.
We'd be
probably not be in
replacing
this
capacity
situation.
anyway, whether it's from renewables or conventional.
And all the investments that we're doing, all the, in the presentation, there's so many line items that we're working on. All of that is really not just for this, it builds.
It's the beginning of the
builds
repowering.
future. It repowers, it begins to repower the rest of the system that we were gonna do, most especially when Ukudu came on the line, but now it's become more
It's
critical.
been accelerated because, yeah. Because, Mr. Chairman, that's the other thing, you know, when I see some of the commentary, you know, especially the ones that says the GPA didn't plan, you know, GPA did plan to replace Cabris. It didn't plan for 3 and 4 to blow up prematurely. That was supposed to last. And then when 3 and 4 went offline, that put pressure on all the remaining generators to make up for it, and now 1 and 2 is showing that pressure is creating it. So we always knew we were going to create new capacity, and then COVID shuts down EPA for a year, and we had to change the reconfiguration of Ukudu, and then we had the legislature delay approval of that configuration. So there were events beyond the control of GPA, both local and acts of God, that, you know, affected our ability to have replacing Cabris 1 through 4. Because I think it was Tracy that reminded me that had none of those delays occurred, Ukudu would have been online by now, right? But, you know, COVID came, delays from the legislature came, things happen. And so, you know, it's unfortunate, no one's happy about it, but at least you have a plan that says in the next 6 months, you're gonna supplement capacity, which will help all the other generators get a break so that our other partners can fix it. Cabris can get more attention. And it is the beginning of the repowering that will begin extensively with Ukudu, more renewables, more storage, and 40 megs that we've now authorized to pursue that we'll use for whatever we can use them for until they're less useful, right? But at least we can use them for now. Generation is critical to the next few years. We got to have it.
Yeah, and again, I looked at the numbers, and of course, there's no consolation, but really the unserved load is less than 1%, you know, but it's still, you know, it's not major consolation for those that are
You don't want to be
having
the 1%.
you don't want to be the 1%, but
And the
but again,
1% moves around every night.
the level of reliability, you know, expectations of our customers, I can understand, and so I for one, of course, don't want to really just go through the next 2 or 3 years with just what I have, knowing that more things could happen as we rebuild. So I think that's why we decided to come forward with this
That's great.
40 megawatts.
Excellent.
But John, just to confirm, you come on with the additional 40 megs of temporary power, right? With the three-year with 2-year options, and then you come out of whatever, when you come out of the final protest settlement, you still have the other 40 megs that are gonna come online that you need time to work on.
That's right.
And bring up, so that'll be another 40 megs, and then you're gonna complete
Jigo.
CT in
That's another
December,
20.
so that's why I'm asking, is there a need for that 2-year option? But I'm fine with the way, because then you can exercise it or not.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I
Yep,
think-
so
and I
then
think
now, as you can see, then we're starting recovering reserves now. So even if cameras go down and we take a week to fix her up, to back up, we can do the maintenance of the other units. But I think
Doing this in 6 months is much more, it gives much more relief to the public, because they're hearing Ukadu in 26 and they're going, oh my golly, right? And
Yeah,
this is
no,
not- we
and,
don't want this to go on this long.
no, and I can put that same burden again also on the rest of the GPA staff and because they, I must say, I mean, other than even before the my war, we were already stressed, no?
Yep.
And so this now just compounded. So I think this will work out overall for everyone, and we can afford it through our
Our current
revenue.
rates.
Yeah,
That's the important part.
yeah.
Okay.
I just want to make clear, because Mr. Chairman, it reads, GPA desires to obtain a 3-year lease. It does not read with 2 1-year options. It's on page 2.
So maybe,
Am I
yeah,
clear here?
we'll amend it if you will.
Yeah, no, I'm just making
Yeah.
sure that it will
With
include
2-year
the 2
one
1-year
option.
right?
And
Second
again,
whereas on the second page.
we
Well,
will,
put it, more importantly, put in the resolve, that he's authorized
Yeah.
to lease
Both parts.
for 3 with 2. So what,
1-year option.
can we, what's
Can
that?
we make that change, Leader
Let's make
Council,
that
before
change.
we,
and actually we can even add with an option to own, no? Yes, so that it,
So
But,
maybe add a
Two things.
maybe add a number 2 that says the terms of the lease shall be for a minimum of 3 years with 2 1-year
1-year
options.
515.
Right?
yes.
Is that, Teresa, is that sufficient? The terms of, the lease is a minimum of 3 years with 2 1-year options? And with you also mentioned a lease to own, with an additional option for
But
lease to
what we
own?
normally do is when we do the bid specifications, we'll put that all in.
Okay.
As all of those things, different things, and then when it's ready for award in the CCU and everyone can agree or disagree on any of those things.
So I move to second Commissioner Santos' motion to amend this resolution to add the language where the lease is for a minimum of 3 years, 2 1-year options, and an additional option for lease to own.
Okay.
Second,
So that's,
Motion to the motion.
motion to-
that,
second my
Motion
amendment.
first.
okay.
So I
On
move,
the
I need a
amendment-
second to
on-
that.
On the
Second.
amendment,
Okay, now
Your
the
second.
motion as amended.
on the amendment first.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
This is on the amendment. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? Okay,
Now on the
Is
amendment, the
unanimous?
motion as amended.
now on the motion as amended, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries unanimous.
Go get us some generation, John.
And so last but not least, Mr. Chair, is my GM report, but in lieu
It's
of that,
excellent.
I can give you a 1-minute summary. Covers
your 1 minute is too long.
targeted to be on the line sometime this weekend,
Okay.
if everything. Load shedding, of course, today is not happening because the weather is perfect for us. Fuel oil prices are on the rise, although it hasn't gone like this, right? Ukudo construction continues. You see that, the storage tanks have been removed for the ultra low sulfur. They placed the order, so it is progressing. This is the highest period of demand. Demand side management continues every month. About 600 applicants are changing out their air conditioners to very efficient air conditioners. Financials are good. They're recovering despite the storm. And occupancy rates are around 60%. within the hotels, but more, what I see also with that 60%, there has been a jump in their consumption and all of that. So
But
that's
you
what
have
I see from the GM
You have
report.
participants on the,
And yeah, we have about, yes, we have several, close to about 16 megawatts of participants, including the Navy.
60?
16.
1/6, yeah, okay.
And we continue, we're talking to more and more people. But, you know, fairness to everyone else, the generators have been through, taking a beating throughout the storm and after the storm.
Even the
They
private
have been
sector
there
has problem
for
with the
years and
generators.
not been utilized or as much, no? And so, again, a lot of them are repairing those and making those changes, so expect that more will come on the line. And hopefully, and again, all I'm looking for is at least the next this 6 month period until we can get by this, no? And that's been helping in the evening. So,
Okay.
that's all I have on the
Okay,
summary.
we have a recommendation from our legal counsel to go into executive session on the litigation matters, so could we have a motion to rise up and go into executive
So
session?
moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. 5-minute recess.
This is the one that we just
We're back online in open session. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second? Yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay, motion carries. Shut off everything.